My finances have actually never been okay. And the longer I lied to myself about it, the longer I just stayed in that mess. Hi, I'm Dumelo, and today I want to tell you all about it. A quick disclaimer before we start. This video is in no way a financial advice video. If you need financial advice, please contact a certified financial advisor or a financial manager. I'm just sharing this to share my experiences and hopefully inspire you to make a difference if you find yourself in the same situation. Let's get into it. See, at the end of my studies at film school, I lost my father. And when my father passed away, I remember feeling so shattered. I felt shattered because I felt like he was leaving me in a mess. He was leaving me in a mess because I had dreams of starting my own business. I wanted to start my own production company and, tell stories in what I had called in my honors thesis an authentic way of African storytelling using the television medium. But all those dreams were shattered. They were shattered because after his death, I had to assume the role of the breadwinner. I had to take care of my mother, I had to take care of my little brother, my two sisters, the dogs, the electricity, and everything else. So unfortunately, I just couldn't do the things I wanted to do. Part of that is that when I started working, I earned only 5,000 rand. Now imagine on a 5,000 rand salary, my take home was 4.5 after tax. On a 5,000 rand salary, 4.5, I had to take care of all these family duties. So I just couldn't. And I think now that I look back, in hindsight, I believe that is when I started leaning towards debt. To kind of bridge the gap of my pay and what I needed to make do in life. On top of all of that, I also had student loan debt. See, in first year, I'd spoken to my cousin who was so kind to take out a student loan for me. And when I started working, I had to start paying it off, I'm eternally grateful to him for that. But I had this debt now to take care of. I had this debt to pay, all from this 5,000 rand. I think there's this subconscious thing where we normalize debt, that we find ourselves getting into debt in order to get out of debt. And that's where I found myself. I found myself taking out a loan to pay off the student loan so I could pay off a loan that was now in my name. But I think what that did was normalize having debt in my mind. It normalized having debit orders that go off to financial institutions at the end of the month. And that was about to become my life. Luckily though, in the second year of my working career, I decided, you know what? I'm going to squash this loan that I took out to pay off another loan. So I would take a big chunk of my salary at the end of each month and just attack this loan. And luckily for me, I was able to pay it off really quickly. And I remember the day when I had finally made the final payment towards the student loan. I came running into my line producer's office and my production manager was sitting to the right. And after I told them about these these news about, that now I am debt free, my production manager said to me, "Oh, I wish you knew how much I owe the banks. I owe my mortgage, I owe my car." And then in that moment, I realized that, because debt is so normalized in our minds, we pay off debt only to get back into debt. But I think my mind was also too young for me to actually register what that meant. And that is a lesson I've had to learn hard over the last 2 to 3 years. After that repayment, I found myself in more consumer debt. So more debt on my clothing accounts, more debt on my credit card. And, as I started earning more, I started spending more. I started dressing better. I started eating better. I started, and all those things just add to this problem if consumer debt has been normalized from the beginning. As if that was not enough, I then went on and invested in things that I had no business investing in, things that I had very little knowledge about, but I had the gumption to take my hard-earned rands and hand them over to schemes that I did not understand, you know. So I invested in this network marketing thing. I mean, we all know that a lot of them are just pyramid schemes. I invested in things like Forex and stuff like that, and I knew very little about it. So I'm in no way saying Forex is a scam. I'm in no way saying network marketing is a scam. All I'm saying is that if you don't understand what it is, if you don't understand how it's built, what it hopes to achieve, then you're just getting yourself into trouble, which is where I'd found myself at the time. So flash forward a few years later, I find myself now married to my beautiful wife, and we are looking around, we're looking for a place to buy, and we find this beautiful investment property that we had been eyeing in the Northwest on a beautiful nature resort. Beautiful place at such a beautiful price. We get there, we look around, I love it. I want to sign the offer to purchase. And the person I was with that day looks at me and says, okay, so how much can you afford to put down on it? My answer was, nothing. Then she said to me, how much do you have on your credit card? And I said, nothing. See, in that moment I realized that had I just been paying my credit card off every single time I used the money, I would have had enough money to almost buy that place outright. But I didn't have the money. And why? Because I wasn't working on paying off my debts. So 2020 comes and you know what happened? March, lockdown. May, our child is born. And unfortunately for my wife, you know, who used to work in the tourism industry with her mother, they lost a big chunk of business. My income was affected as I work in the film and television industry. And there we were, with very little cash flow coming into the house. And on top of that, my very first coaching gig had been postponed, which further affected my cash flow projections for that year. In that moment, I knew that I needed help. I knew that something needed to change, and it needed to change fast. So in January of the year 2021, I read 3 books. 3 books in about 2 weeks, in the first 2 weeks of the year. Those books are The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley, Managing God's Money by Randy Alcorn. And those books have changed how I view my personal finances, and it has set me on a journey that brings me here today, and I want to share this process with you. Here are the top 3 lessons that I've learned from these books. Number 1, pay off your debt and pay it off early. Why? Because this frees up the cash flow that you would need to make investments. And your salary, your income, your profit you make from your business is the number 1 weapon that you can use to build wealth. If that weapon is attacked, it hinders your ability to build wealth. And I learned that firsthand when I couldn't afford to buy that property. Number 2, live below your means. Why? This frees up a lot of your disposable income. And again, like I said, your income is the number 1 weapon you have to build wealth. If you can free that money up and channel it towards building wealth, I promise you, had I done that when I started working, I would be much, much further today. Lesson 3, stop trying to impress people who don't care using money you don't have. See, no one actually cares what you wear, where you live, what you drive. And if they did, they would actually buy those things for you. And that is a lesson that I learned hard myself. I didn't quite suffer from trying to keep up with the Joneses. I think my struggle was that this was a benchmark for me. You know, this is how I measured how well I was doing at life. But unfortunately and unknowingly, I found myself keeping up with the Joneses. There are many more lessons that I've learned from these 3 books. And if you want me to make a video detailing all of that, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll be very glad to share some of that information, as I strongly believe that it would help you too, as it has helped me, my wife, and my household. Listen, if this is resonating with you, please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can be notified next time I upload a video such as this. And if you want to know more about what happened next to me, click this video here, and I'll see you there.